Hey guys, so this session's all about the chin up and getting to either your first rep or beyond that to some different variations that might help your chin up game, maybe to working towards heavier 1RM or a 1-arm chin up, either way. But mostly today is about going from zero to hero, from no rep at all, feeling like you can't do one chin up, to being able to get into the game and do multiple reps. The journey from 0 to 1 is the hardest, nice clean rep. Because that's a 1RM, right? It's a maximum effort if we need a long rest before you can do it again. But then 1 to 3 starts to move a little bit quicker than that first journey. And then once you can hit 3 to 8 is much faster, because then you can do multiple reps at a time. It starts to move away from a 1RM to more like a 70%, 60% effort, meaning you can get more done in a session rather than doing one and being maxed out. So today is going to be all about the progressions, the different exercises that you will use to be able to get that first rep. And then, like I mentioned, some different variations to keep it interesting when you can do some chin-ups. All right, let's do it. The first exercises that will make sure that you can master is the scat pull. That's important because we need to make sure that when you are in a passive hang at the bottom of your chin-up, the first action is actually going to be from the scap and the lat to recruit, before we can then elbow bend and pull through for that chin up. So making sure you can recruit and actively pull into the right position is step one for those chin ups. Now, the reason I got my shirt off is so that you can see what my scaps are actually doing as I flow through the movement and whether that is something you can master or not. Because a lot of people you'll see will do chin ups starting from this position, and they'll never actually expose themselves to that full range to pull out of the bottom. And like any movement, we want to be able to do the full range of motion. So ideally, we're going to be able to pull from the bottom and get the scap to fire first, rather than missing out on the half of that range. So to do scap pulls, you can do this in an overhand or an underhand position. It might be favorable to begin with an underhand position though, because that'll be your first chin up, will be underhand. So if you get your grip, nice shoulder width parallel grip, go into that passive hang where your ears are covered by your shoulders, and then you're going to retract those scaps back and down and find a slight arch in your thoracic spine. So up tall and then pull back and down into the arch. Notice that there's no elbow bend throughout the range of motion. So as we go from passive, we pull, note the elbow stays straight and all the retractions happening back down here. Just to show you from the front. Head comes down between shoulders, pull up towards elbows. Okay, this is the horizontal bar row. This is an excellent pulling exercise to work towards your chin-ups if you're nowhere near them and they feel like a mile away. Now, there's a few variations of how you go about this, but the best measurement I've found as a standard to work towards your chin up is to set the bar at hip height, to go for an underhand grip with legs straight, start with the scap pull and then row chest to bar, resetting each rep to get 6 in a row. Now the same concepts apply in the chin up in terms of retracting the scap back and down and then pulling chest to bar. Now it's really important to get the contact. If you can't get the contact, you're always just off. This will mean when we go to a chin up, you won't be able to close the rep out and get the full range of motion. So really important to get contact. Now, if you can't touch chest to bar at this height already, and you're still not in the game on that, then we have two options. One, I would prefer to keep it at the same height so that you get used to that, but bring the feet in closer so that when you pull, it's an easier rep to complete by having the feet closer. And then gradually you'll work your feet further away from the bar so reps become more difficult. Alternatively, if that's still too hard and you're not getting contact, then you can put the bar height higher. Now this is the progression I would definitely make sure that you can hit before you worry about getting your chin-ups. And the other progressions, it's definitely something that you can work alongside as well. Let's say you're up to your isometrics and eccentric reps, which you're about to learn about. This would be a really good exercise to work after that, or as a warm-up as well. You do 5 reps here, do your chin-up work, and then you come back and do 3 sets of 10 or 12 at a modified height. Horizontal bar row. Another powerful movement in developing your chin-up game and getting as much activation out of your back as possible is a strongman arch, or just an arch chin-up. Arch scat pull, sorry, I should say. So this one's the same concept as the scat pull, but now we're adding the pull into the thoracic arch. So think back bridge or back bend, almost towards like a front lever motion. I'm just going to show you this one now, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So this can be done in either overhand or underhand. I find it best in overhand to get the most out of my lats, but you can perform it either way. So we start from the passive hang, arch the back, scat pull, and then pull into that arch position, and then come back down through the passive hang. Show you that from the front. This is a really nice way to get as much activation out of the scaps in that pulling motion as well, without using your biceps. And it's a great progression to get more range of motion and more strength through your back. If you find that you're very bicep orientated in your chin-ups and you cave in the chest and pull through the arms and into this flexion position, this is a nice way to get you to more chin-ups where you're pulling from an arch position and getting more out of your back, which is responsible for so much of the motion. It may be the difference between you getting a breakthrough in your weighted chin-ups or just hitting that first chin-up for the first time, but many of us are overtly dominant in the biceps in the beginning. So this is a great exercise in that progression. You have the scat pull down and the motion of activating the back, and you also have got the horizontal row in the game, and you know that you have the strength to progress towards that first chin-up. Now we're going to talk about the actual chin-up reps that we can do before you have a full rep that will help get you there. Now, isometrics are your friend, eccentrics are your friend especially, and half reps. They're how we're going to get towards that full rep. Because if you can hold at the top, you can make a slow lower all the way down, stopping at each point of the range, and even pulling back up from some of them. Then you know you're working towards your first full rep and you're really in the game. And this is a gradual process, especially if you can't do this in the beginning. You might be able to hold for a few seconds and then you're just falling completely down to passive or dropping off altogether. These are the ones that you really need to fire up and focus on, because these are your 1RMs at the moment that eventually will become easy when you start getting towards doing your first rep. So first of all, an isometric chin-up. So basically you'll step off a box or jump up, whatever's more in the game for you, reasonable, whatever's possible with your setup at home or at the gym. We got that underhand grip like we did before, shoulder width apart. Now I'm just going to show you a jump today, but you could of course step off the side. So we're going to jump, get to the top, and just hold with chest to bar, keeping this arch position and not caving in. So arch in the back, get as much out of your lats and biceps, and then come down. Now, if you can get that up to 10 seconds, then you're in the game on your isometrics. That's great, because we really want to make that part of your eccentric reps rather than just doing lots and lots of holds at the top. So once you've mastered that isometric, and you can do that for 5 to 10 seconds at least, then we can start adding it to an eccentric rep. So for this, to begin with, if these are all you can manage, you'll be doing sets of 5 to 10 of just doing 1 rep at a time, when you can up that to 2 reps and just gradually make that more. Because like anything in strength, progressive overload, we want to add more reps, more time, or less rest for these, or more sets. So to begin with, just 1 set of 5, and then, 5 sets of 1, and then eventually you'll make that 5 sets of 2, 3, build it up to maybe 5 sets of 5. And if you can do that, then you can start adding some different variations. But I'm just going to show you now what I want one of those to look like. So a 2-second isometric at the top, followed by a 5-second eccentric. 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, step down. jump back up. 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you can notice my posture through that movement, that I'm maintaining the arch and wrapping the elbows in tight to get the most out of the lats and biceps at the same time. Okay, so once we've mastered that, the next thing we can look at is some half reps. So doing part of the range will gradually help you open up more and more of the range. So to start with, this might only be a tiny movement that's only just breaking at the elbow and then closing chest back to bar. Eventually, you'll work your way to 90 degree and then past 90, and then eventually we can talk about getting the full reps from there. So just to show you a demonstration of each of the 3 variations, you might start with just the first one, same deal, for reps. And then eventually you'll add more and more range. So we're jumping to the top, opening at the elbow just slightly, close back to the top. Maybe we've got more range. Maybe we can get past 90 and then all the way down. I think it's really important at the end of each of those to come away from the bar, close the rep, and then close all the way, open all the way, down to a full rep. And making sure that you're not just dropping to the ground. It's a really valuable exercise to improve your strength, is to get the full eccentric rep out, because that's only going to be favorable to be able to do a full rep later. If you skip that and always just jump down, when it comes a time to be able to pull out of the bottom, you'll find that you've got no strength because you've always skipped that part of the range. All right, guys, so you've mastered your isometrics, your eccentrics, and even you're getting some half reps now. You're finding that you can pause at any point of the range of the chin up, and you feel like at your point to start to go for some full reps. So maybe you've hit your first rep, maybe you're at the point where you want to test and find out. So going for your full reps now, I'm just going to go through the technique. Obviously the same concept as everything we've been working on. You want to wrap the elbows in, you want to get the arch in the back. So now we're going to piece together the scat pull plus the rest of the movement. So to really develop full range strength the way we want to for a chin up, we want to start in that passive hang, and then from there we're going to make our scat pull and then break at the elbow and pull chest to bar. I think it's really important that we focus on getting throat, or even better, chest and collarbones to bar, because that means you're getting the full range at the top. In the same way, we don't want to skip the bottom on the way down of those eccentrics. We don't want to just tap our chin to the bar and call that a full rep, because to get most out of the range, you want to go all the way. And that's only going to be helpful down the track if you start trying to do things like muscle ups, ring muscle ups, or even one-arm chin-ups and those kind of exercises, yeah? So if you've got intentions to progress further, it's much better to practice the full range, but also just to get the most out of the exercise. Someone who's just doing half reps for 10 reps isn't even going to get the same value that someone doing 5 full reps will get in terms of energy expenditure and progression in strength and just balance in their muscular system. So we want to find that same grip. We'll come to the passive hang, we scat pull, then we break at the elbow, pull chest to bar, and make that full eccentric rep back down. Scat pull, break at the elbow, chest to bar, all the way back down. And that's your first chin up, guys. So as mentioned, now we're going to look at a few variations of chin ups on the bar that you can do once you've mastered your chin up, and maybe you're looking for a little bit more and just some variety in your training as well. But these are really good progressions to help develop different parts of your back and your body and your biceps, so that when you do go to things like rings and one-arm chin-ups and bar muscle-ups, you've already built a nice base in those kinds of pulling movements. So we're going to look at the bar pull-up first. So basically the same concepts as our chin-up, except we're in an overhand grip now. And this means that we're reducing the amount of bicep engagement we're getting, unlike the chin-up. And when we go to the pull-up, we're still, of course, using it, but there's not as much. The difference between a chin-up and a pull-up, chin-up being that there's about 8 muscle groups firing through, and a pull-up there's about 5. So less muscles working, but they're working more, if you know what I mean. So in terms of position, we still want that overhand grip. We're still going to scat pull, and then we're going to break at the elbow, trying to keep that arch in the back. This one many find harder to get chest to bar reps on, So it's important to really practice the arch, because if you've been really bicep dominant on your chin-ups, you'll find the same position will happen, but you won't be able to get the contact that you could with the chin-up. All right, so slightly wider grip. Scap pull back and down, pull chest contact to bar, smooth lower back down. We want to still try wrap the elbows in as we do reps. Okay. Another variation is mixed grip bar chin-ups. Now, this is nice to work through any imbalances that you might have in your strength, one side over the other, and also a good progression towards mixed grip chin-ups on the rings, and then finally one day a one-arm chin-up. So, everything remains the same concept-wise. We've just got one hand in each direction. So you'll pick which hand you're going to mix, keep the other over, still start in passive hang, still scalp retract, still pull chest to bar. Okay, the final variation we're doing today for bar chin-ups is the strongman arch. Now, I really like this because it incorporates our scap pull arch that we were practicing in the warm-ups, and then you add the chin-up to it. This movement almost becomes more like a row than it does a vertical pull or chin-up, which allows you to get more back activation out of it. I would suggest trying these with an underhand because they're much harder, but if you can get the overhand reps, obviously fantastic as well. So we go through our scap pull, our arch in the back, and then pull chest to bar. So the motion's a bit more clunky because we're actually pulling back and then rowing up. But it's a really nice exercise to get more activation out of the back like we talked about earlier. Okay, our final chin-up progressions for today is the rings. So we're looking at 3 different variations that you can do on ring chin-ups. So the first is just a normal ring chin-up where you'll pull from a pull-up position like on the bar and end up in a reverse grip chin-up position just by rotating the rings, which the instability makes it different, more dynamic than normal bar chin-ups. So you'll find as an AMRAP you can do more on a bar, less on a rings generally, unless you always train on the rings, and that gives you an advantage there. So then we'll go through a mixed grip, archer, and then we'll just talk about some of the progressions to a one-arm chin-up. So basically for your ring chin-ups, your standard reps, you'll start as mentioned in the overhand pull. Everything remains the same in that you'll do a scap pull, a break at the elbow, and maintain an arch in the back as you pull through. So scap pull, break at elbow, turn the rings in, touch chest 2, come all the way back down through. Ring chin. The next variation we're going to do is a mixed grip ring chin up, just like we did on the bar in that unilateral development of working one side slightly more than the other. With the rings, we had the advantage of actually being able to twist the rings as we go and work on one side in particular. I'd like you to really favor one arm as you do each rep. You'll notice that it's a chin touch to the top of the ring, just like we look for a chest to bar contact. Another progression is archer chin-ups. Archer, hence because of the position we're creating with our hands. So we're going to start by pulling into a normal chin-up. You're going to take one arm out straight and then favor that one side as you lower back down. This is a much more difficult exercise as you're really loading one arm and only have the straight arm assistance of pushing down on the other arm. This would be a more advanced progression, especially if you're working towards one-arm chin-ups or you just want to play with something different. You can, of course, do this on the way back up, which I'm not going to demonstrate today, but nailing the eccentric first, just like we do for the normal chin-ups. Hey, that's it for our chin-up tutorial today. Thanks for tuning in. I really hope that you found some good progressions that work for you in terms of where you're at and where you want to be. Especially for those who are going for their first chin-up, 0 to hero, who are really just starting out. If you take the time to do those progressions correctly and well, and even when you want to just bail out reps, make sure you get that full eccentric, that will be the difference between you hitting that chin-up sooner or later. And I guarantee you, if you put the work in and do those exercises, you will find that you'll get your first chin-up and then progress to more and more. The reason I've done this is the chin-up is one of my favorite exercises. I'm working towards a 1-up chin-up myself at the moment, and the feeling of being able to pull your own body weight from a hang, there's just nothing better, I find, than full body weight strength, and then to be able to do reps. It's something so empowering for you in your own body and your own strength that I think everyone should experience it. And so by doing the work, getting there. The other things to consider, definitely injuries, being aware of any niggles that are going on and getting that sorted out first. Body composition can be a big factor. Being a lot heavier can of course make chin-ups harder. That doesn't mean the 100-kilo person compared to the 60-kilo person can't do chin-ups. You've just got to keep in mind that the lighter person, their strength to weight ratio generally is often better, and they'll find it easier to get into the game. That's not to say a 100-kilo person can't have a great strength to weight ratio over time and just to get stronger enough to be able to do multiple reps, but it is a factor in terms of body weight conditioning. Thanks so much for tuning in. Enjoy it, tag me in your journey, and let's get some chin-ups.